All right, let's get it going, everybody. Peace and respect. What's up, everybody? This is Prime Sports Media. What's up? What's up, everybody? Let's get into it right now. It was a tough game this past Saturday. Not what I was expecting. I mean, they got beat pretty bad last week. What was it? 53 somewhere in there to 7. This time 52 to 17 to Arizona. Last week it was to Utah. Not looking good at all. There's something fundamentally wrong with the football team. And Coach Prime, to his credit, I mean, he's not going to let his players or his coaches be bombarded by criticism. So Coach Prime said that if you want to blame somebody, put the blame on me. This is what he said.
Come at me. This is me. This has nothing to do with none of them. It has everything to do with me. Let's go. Come at me. This is me. This has nothing to do with none of them.
As you can see, he says it has nothing to do with the players, but it's on him as a coach. Now, let me say this right now. I don't think that Coach Prime, if you look at the time that Coach Prime took over this team, a team that only won, one game, went 1-11 or something like that on the season. When he took this team over, he made improvements. He brought better players into the program by way of the transfer portal and some recruitment. He had some young men who came over from Jackson State over to CU, and the talent, you know, they were lacking certain talent in areas such as the offensive line, certain areas, but they had other key players like Shedeur, and of course they had players like Travis Hunter. And since then, they did pretty. Last year, they were within one game that they needed to win, I believe, against either BYU, one of those teams that could have put them in the national championship top 25 or top 10, should I say, tournament for national championship. And so they went from that level with Travis Hunter getting the Heisman Trophy, coming off of a big Heisman Trophy success in the Big 12 and in the nation. And you say, what's wrong with this team? A lot of people are saying, well, Coach Prime can't coach. He can't do this. He can't do that. I'm gonna say this. And I heard Marcellus Wiley talking about this on his channel because people have come out and made criticisms about Coach Prime, whether he can coach and what have you. At some point in time, it doesn't matter about the X's and O's. Now, you have to have coaches that can put players in the best position to win. Personally, I don't think that Pat Shermer, I don't think the offensive coordinator for CU, in this case, Pat, and I've said this in my last video, I don't think that the play calling that he's running is putting players in the best position to be successful. I don't think last week that Robert Livingston was putting players in the best position to be successful in the game that they lost against Utah, and it looked to be the same today. But then the question is, do CU really have the talent to compete? Because the truth of the matter is coaching and coaches are only as good as the talent that they have on the field. Now, you look at someone like Belichick from the NFL. The minute Tom Brady retired and he left the Patriots, the minute the Patriots start to lose key guys in their defense over the years and key offensive players, Belichick he wasn't winning. His teams weren't winning. They were having problems. Matter of fact, if you go back and look at Belichick's history, when he was with the Cleveland Browns, he was terrible. He was a coordinator a good majority of his career in the NFL with the New York Giants. Why am I saying this? What I'm saying is that while you have people out there criticizing Coach Prime, and Coach Prime has certainly said, hey, blame me, I'm the blame. And he says that the young men are executing in practice. There's one thing to execute in practice, it's another not to execute in the game play. So the question is it that Coach Prime's coaching staff, the likes of Pat and Robert Livingston, for example, because they stand out, and those that are in position coaching, is it that the coaching is bad, or that they don't have the right coaches, or that they're not executing the right plays for the players that they have? Are they trying to make these players do more than what these players have in their abilities? Because the reason why most good coaches, when they go from winning to losing, a lot of times they didn't forget how to coach. It's because the talent level that they have, the guys at the talent level, at the skill positions, just can't do what's necessary. Now, when I talk about talent level, I'm talking about the fact that the quarterbacking position has been in question this whole year from start to now, almost getting close to finish. This young man, not to punch down on him, Salter came from Liberty. And I said this in earlier videos. And peace to you who have come into the chat room. I don't know if Salter is able, if he's ever been able to adjust to this level of play. I've watched, I think it was the American Conference. I watched a few games in that conference this weekend. I think it was Rice and some other school. And the talent level in that conference is not the talent level of the Big 12. And maybe Salter played well when he was in that particular conference, playing against that particular level of talent that made him look better than he really is. I've never felt that he was comfortable in Big 12 play. I've never felt that he's felt completely within himself. I think where he has been the most successful is running and scrambling and picking up extra yards and getting away from the pressure. But as much as he's able to do that, he's also a guy that can make mistakes, get sacked, throw balls that should not be thrown, or throw balls that have lack of accuracy. And we have seen not once, but twice, ladies and gentlemen, that this young man get replaced in the middle of the season now by Stobbs. Stobbs has replaced him not once, but twice in a ball game. Stobbs came in the game and he threw, 2 interceptions. He didn't do any better than Salter. So you have to be honest and say, why is it that CU has talent in the skill position, such as receiver? And what I'm saying to make sense here, everybody, is that if you don't have the right players, the Coach Prime certainly got some players out of the transfer portal. He picked up some young men from high school. But if you don't have the right players, you will look like you can't coach. Your team will lose games, and people will start saying you can't coach. Now, I'm going to say again, I'm not a fan of Pat Shurmur at the offensive coordinator position. He's got to go. That's been stagnated. Robert Livingston, we saw the back and forth between him and Coach Prime on the sidelines. Those things happen, but there's something wrong because I don't think he's got these guys in the right positions. Are you utilizing their talent, what talent they have? And I'm saying the problem with CU is that they don't have, and I'm going to be honest, you have to be honest, that Salters may not be the best fit for what this program is trying to do. When Shedeur was there, yes, despite Shedeur being sacked more than any quarterback in college football, despite Shedeur not having the best offensive line, Shedeur, in my humble opinion, was able to do more with less on the offensive line. He was able to do more with an offensive line that was not that good than Salters has done with an offensive line that has had its problems this season, but it is certainly a better offensive line than what Shedeur Sanders inherited or what he had gotten or what he had to work with. The difference is that Shedeur may not be able to run around and with speed like Salters, but Shedeur had something that Salters lacks, which is accuracy. Salters, and I'm going to say it again, is not a very accurate quarterback, and I think that's one of the reasons why they're also struggling, along with the fact that the play calling from Pat has not been the best calls to put these players in the best situation to win games. Coach Prime has got to think about that. Coach Prime has got to analyze that, and he's got some decisions to make. These decisions may come after the season, but someone's got to go, and I suspect that some of the players on this team, they're going to be guys that are going to be jumping into the transfer portal. And we got to be ready for that reality that some of these young men are going to be leaving. Coach Prime already had a special scrimmage for them to show their talent, but there's definitely probably going to be more surprises coming down the pipeline because there is talent being underutilized on this team. And I don't know if we can say, well, that it's the whole coaching staff. I don't know if you can put it all on Coach Prime when we know that Coach Prime is a man who strives for excellence. What I'm saying to you is that certainly as a head coach, he has to take certain responsibility. But if you got players who are not executing, then is it on the coaches or is it on the players? And if you got a quarterback who can't throw the ball with accuracy, then do you blame it on Coach Prime, or do you really be honest and say, these are the areas on this team that are lacking because we just don't have the talent to the level that we need in these particular spots on the team? Okay? As Coach Prime says, blame it on him.
Let's go. Come at me. This is me. This has nothing to do with none of them. It has everything to do with me.
So that's leadership. Coach Prime is taking it on the chin and saying it has everything to do with him, not the young players. He's protecting the young players. This is what Coach Prime put out. This was put out there in an article. In response to Colorado's 52-17 blowout loss to Arizona on November the 2nd, 2025, head coach Deion Sanders prevented his players and assistant coaches from speaking with the media. He took full responsibility for the team's poor performance and directed all criticism towards him, stating that don't attack the players, come at me. I get where Coach Prime is coming from with this philosophy that, hey, let me take it on the chin because these are...
Come at me. This is me. This has nothing to do with none of them. It has everything to do with me.
Everything to do with him. Certainly, Coach Prime has to figure out how he can fix this problem, and it goes back to this. Coach Prime has to assess whether he has the right coaches on the coaching staff, whether he's recruited the best transfer portal players into his system. See, you have the transfer portal where you've got guys that are leaving schools because either they're not getting the playing time that they want, they don't either like the coach, they don't like the style of offense, maybe they're homesick, maybe they just want to go somewhere else where they feel like they'll be recognized better, who knows? But if you don't get the right players that come through the transfer portal, or if the right players that come out of high school, it's just like the NFL. In the NFL, when they have the NFL draft, you got teams that are running certain styles of football. So you got teams that are running a 3-4 defense. They need a nose tackle. You got teams that need a possession receiver, a speed receiver. You have teams that need a power back versus a speed back, right? So I almost wonder when Coach Prime began to get these young men into the program, did he pick the young men who wanted to transfer to CU, were they the best fit for the system that they're running, both on offense and defense? And then with the players that he got from recruiting and the transfer portal, do they have the right quarterback to get them the ball or the right offensive coordinator to get them the ball? I got to be honest. This is the reason why. This is the reason why I'm bringing this up. It's Corey Salters. I mean, that's Salters, not Corey Salters, but Salters. We know that there was a big battle between him and Juju during the post or pre-preparation for the upcoming season. And the question I want to put on everybody's mind today is, when Coach Prime says blame it on him, my question is, did Coach Prime make the wrong decision from the very get-go in not going with Juju? That's the question you got to answer, everybody, and I'm going to come back to this. Did Coach Prime make the right decision? Should this young man had been playing a lot earlier? Now, Coach Prime said he wanted to protect him. Maybe Juju wasn't ready. But the problem is the two guys you've got ahead of Juju, in this situation, Salter has not been consistent in his play, and even Stobbs, ever since he came in the game against Houston, I think one of those teams where he rallied them to win, he since then has not been able to capture that magic. And he came in the game and threw 2 interceptions. Let me put this chart up here, right here. So we're going to get to Juju in just a moment, Julian Lewis. But Salter went 11-5 for 49 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. You can't win like that. Ryan Stobbs came in, and I think he was worse because Ryan Stobbs went 0 for 2 and threw 2 interceptions. So he was worse. Juju came in and went 9 for 17 and managed to put up 121 yards, 1 touchdown in a bad situation that he was brought into the game to play, where the team was down, all type of things were going on, and the young man was brought into the game and did the best he could with what he had, with the reps that he's been given. I got to admit that that's not bad for a young man who comes into a game under bad circumstances and manages to put up 121 receiving yards, no interception, and he put in 1 touchdown. He went 9 for 17. Imagine if this young man was getting more reps in gameplay, he would probably, I think, would be playing better. He's a freshman. He's going to have the freshman, hiccups here and there. But the question I'm asking, since Coach Prime, not me, Coach Prime said this. Coach Prime said, blame it on him.
Let's go. Come at me. This is me. This has nothing to do with none of them. It has everything to do with me. Let's go.
So, you can make mistakes as a coach with your personnel. You can decide, let me go with this guy. He went with Salter because Salter has more college football experience than Juju. But this is the problem. He doesn't have the experience of playing at this high level in the Big 12. He came out of Liberty. The competition there is nowhere in the ball game of the competition that he's facing in the Big 12. Mind you, he had good games. I think he had a good game against Iowa State. But remember, Salters did more and has done more of his damage this year with his feet more than his arm. You really need a quarterback to have an arm to get the ball down the field with accuracy, make those plays down the field. They don't. Another thing I noticed, and I have to blame Pat Trimmer, is that they keep throwing the ball underneath the coverages. They've got receivers that can get the ball down the field. Now, when I talk about talent, do they have the talent? Again, there is some talent on this team. Let's go with this man right here, Amarion Miller, who had the best game in a losing effort. He was the man. You've got Amarion Miller. You got Joseph Williams. And this young man who I think is underutilized, Sincere Brown. They didn't really get much. If you don't have a quarterback, talking about talent, sometimes if you don't have the right talent, it can hurt your team. If you don't have the right quarterback, the right talent at the quarterback position to get the ball to the guys that you do have that are good players, then you're not going to win football games and you're going to have these problems. Sincere Brown still didn't get any numbers. This guy still is not getting any opportunity like he should. Draylon Miller, who can do it all, did not get enough opportunities because Salters just could not get his game on point. And Coach Prime has got to be thinking about how this can all be rectified. How can it all be rectified? What are they going to do going forward? Let me put up the numbers to make my point here. Amarion Miller had 5 receptions for 91 yards. That's outstanding. 2 touchdowns, 59 yards was the longest. I think that's the one that Juju threw to him. Then you had Zach, the tight end. For the first time in this game, you saw the tight end sort of come alive. And Zach had 5 receptions for 28 yards, 10 being the longest. This guy right here, which I believe from the start of the season that the tight end position for the last few years has been underutilized. In this particular case, this guy is a better tight end than what they had the last 2 years. He's a receiving tight end, and I don't think he's been utilized properly. And you could say, could that be the offensive coordinator and Pat Shurmur and way he's calling the game? Or is it that Salter might not be seeing these guys when they're open clearly? I don't know. But we do know that Amarion Miller is the real deal and that he is the star receiver on this team. And just imagine if Salter could get the ball down the field more. If Salters had better accuracy. Not to take away his ability to scramble and get away from pressure when necessary. But if he had better accuracy and was able to get the ball down the field more consistently, there's no telling what type of numbers Amarion Miller would have. The guy only had 5 receptions for 91 yards. That means he's a big play maker. But this is the other problem. And CU has got to fix this problem. Joseph Williams had 3 receptions for 16 yards, 8. That's not a. Draylon Miller only had 2 receptions for 12 yards. You can't win like this. We were already seen as an underdog in this game, a little bit of an underdog where they had Arizona winning at 57.9% versus 42.1% for CU. This is according to the ESPN analysis. Let me put this back up here. The quarterback for Arizona, he had a pretty good game. This guy was they really did not neutralize him like they should have. He went 11 of 19. He got 4 touchdowns in the game, 213 yards passing. Julian Lewis came in, and to me, he was at the quarterback position yesterday. He's the only bright spot with 121 yards, 9 of 17, 1 touchdown. Rushing yards, Hayden had 9 carries of 34 yards. You cannot win a football game if you're only giving your running back 9 carries. Okay? Now, It's just as simple. Arizona was throwing the ball. They were running the ball. They were doing any and everything that they could against this team. Okay. Tawfiq, the safety, Tawfiq, number 7, he had 6 tackles to lead the team. He had a pretty good game in a bad loss. This guy right here that they got from South Florida. Tawfiq had a decent game for a bad loss. It was a very bad loss. And this was very hard to swallow, everybody. It's hard to swallow when you got guys, a few guys here and there that are playing well. And then you've got guys who are not playing well, and then you're losing games when you're out there hustling. Even Carter Stottlemyre was out there hustling and playing some ball. But it wasn't enough to win. Here's Tawfiq. They got him, 6 tackles, right? Myers got 5 tackles. Jeremy Brown, number 42, who I think is a really good player. What I'm saying is there are some good players on this team, right? There are some good players on this team, but then there's some guys that are not stepping up and executing plays. And then you've got coaches that I don't think are, particularly I'm going after the offensive coordinator and Pat, defensive coordinator and Robert Livingston. I don't know if they're putting these guys in the best position. So you got Jeremy Brown right there, number 42. He had 5 tackles. He had 1 sack in the game, right? Preston Hodge had 4 tackles. And then another person who played well, they took an interception away from him, and that was Yates, who got 2 touchdowns. But Yates got a interception taken away from him that I thought was crazy. I thought that was surely an interception, and they took it away from him. Michael Welsh never was able to get off the ground with the running game. As I said, Preston made a few plays out there. But for the most part, they weren't making the plays that bring about winning. I think the offensive line, once again, is starting to have some problems. And I understand what's going on. What's going on is that we have to also keep in mind that CU doesn't have all their players. They got a lot of guys that are out injured. Even on the offensive line, we saw that on Saturday that they got guys playing out of position. Hell, I think I almost heard the commentary say that they might even had to consider, if anybody else got hurt, they might have to consider sliding Jordan Seaton inside. I don't know. I almost heard the people on the commentary saying something like that, but they've got some guys that are banged up in the offensive line. They've got some key guys in their secondary that are banged up. There are players that are hurt on this team. We cannot sit up here and deny the fact that part of why they're also losing is that they also don't have certain key guys out there, especially on the defense. But what we're so recognizing is that CU it's not a matter that they can stop the run. No, they have not been able to stop the run consistently. I almost hate to say that they can't stop the run. There's something about their run defense that when they go against formidable offensive line, big offensive linemen, that they're able to move the defensive line of CU around. There is some problems here. And that gets back to personnel issues. Coach Prime doesn't want to deal with the person said, hey, blame me. But you have to look at this fundamentally and say, do they have the right type of players that they got, particularly from the transfer portal, that fit exactly what Robert Livingston is trying to do defensively? And is this a question of the players are just not executing what the coach's game plan is properly? Or is this just a question that the coaches are not putting these young men in the right positions to win football games? What do you say? With that said, let's come over here and listen to Coach Prime. And I'm going to get to Juju because I think that Juju is the future of this team. I think that Juju, to me, the future is where this team will have success, and that's in the hands of Juju is a better thrower of the football. I'm sorry, I got to be honest. He is a better thrower of the football than both Salter and Stobbs. There's no doubt in my mind that he's a better thrower of the football. He just needs more experience. He just needs to have more confidence with the playbook. He just needs more reps because he's fresh out of high school. It takes time to develop, but we cannot sit up here and deny after he came in the game under those circumstances and threw for 121 yards, 1 touchdown. When you see the way he throws the football, and he also showed you in this game that he can move a little bit. Yeah, Coach Livingston's got to go. I agree. But can anybody in the comment section of this video tell me that both Stobbs and Salter are better throwers of the football and better accurate with the ball than the high school phenom? Tell me. I would tell you that you're wrong. Now, let's go to Coach Prime as in his press conference as he explains the unbelievable that happened to them. And it is an unbelievable.
What do you think is happening with this team that you guys
We're
are
not
beating
executing.
Iowa State?
We're not executing. We're not getting it done, and that's from lack of preparation, I suppose. That's on me.
Do you think this team's checked out?
No, sir. I know this team personally. I know this team intimately. I know a multitude of the players. They hadn't done that. I know when a player quits. I know a quitter when I see one. Hadn't seen that.
Coach, 14 penalties tonight for 110
Yeah,
yards.
it's probably a record since I've been here. Don't make sense, especially when I think we've been rated in the top, got to be top 25 or whatever, in penalties this season. We've been doing good. Today, just horrible, penalty-wise.
That has been, I got to be honest, that was their problem. They had the same problem last year and even the year before that, where they were getting penalties and being undisciplined. The question is, again, is that players or is that coaching? Because Coach Prime clearly told us to blame him. Now, I'm not going to sit up here. Coach Prime says to blame him.
Come at me. This is me.
No. I'm not going to just blame Coach Prime only. No. This is not only Coach Prime that has to take responsibility for what he needs to do as a head coach, but you can't sit up here and tell me that the coaching staff, particularly the offensive coordinator and Pat and the defensive coordinator and Robert Livingston, you can't tell me, Coach Prime, even though I know you shield them away from the media, you still can't tell me that those guys don't deserve some blame. And we have to be honest about the personnel on this team. Do they have the right personnel for what they're trying to do? I can certainly make the argument at quarterback it's questionable because you've got key guys, Joseph Williams, Sincere Brown, Amarion Miller, who really was the only guy that was a shining light as a player offensively. But there's other guys on this team that are not getting the ball, and you've got a quarterback who doesn't have accuracy and Salters. We have to tell the truth.
That's horrible.
Hey,
No
Coach.
discipline.
Hey, Coach. What went into your decision to put Juju into the game there? At the end?
Common sense.
Was there ever a discussion, or is there still a discussion about him using this as a redshirt year at all?
I don't know his thought process or his parents. I have no idea. I just control what we could control. I'm proud the kid got an opportunity. Sometimes you're forced to do some things that probably should be done anyway. And I'm glad he got.
Stop it right there. That's what I want to get to. Coach Prime said that sometimes you're forced to do things that should have been done is Coach Prime. Now, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist here. It almost sounds like Coach Prime realizes that he should have gotten Juju in the mix a long time ago, because he clearly said that he got him some playing time under some circumstances, but he said you clearly realize it should have been done a long. Let's hear it again. I don't want to misquote him. I don't want to misquote Coach Prime, but here he goes.
Was there ever a discussion, or is there still a discussion about him using this as a redshirt year at all?
I don't know his thought process or his parents. I have no idea. I just control what we can control. I'm proud the kid got an opportunity. Sometimes you're forced to do some things that probably should be done anyway. And
Boom! Coach Prime says sometimes you're forced to do things that should have been done anyway. I think Coach Prime is admitting that he should have gotten Juju in the mix and gotten him more reps and gameplay than he may have in the beginning. Now, that's my guess of what I think Coach Prime is saying here. You let me know if you think that that's what Coach Prime is saying. I don't want to misquote him, but damn it, that's what it sounds like he's saying. That circumstances have forced him to put Juju in the game, and maybe he should have been doing it a long time ago, or that he should have done it again.
To do some things that probably should be done anyway. And I'm glad he got an opportunity. He's got his feet wet a little bit. He got to see the blitzes, just real play and what he needed to work on, and he will. He's a worker. He's going to try his best to get it done. But I'm glad we got to that conclusion.
So is it at all part of your future conversations to discuss a redshirt year with him, because he would only be able to play 2 more games this season?
Yeah. I mean, you got to understand, I'm for the kids. If that's what they want, that's what they'll get. I'm not going to mandate you got to play. You got to. No.
I'm going to give you my opinion. I think Coach Prime should play him. 2 more games to give him. I think he should start Juju the next 2 games. What you got to lose? CU has already been losing games under, and I'm not trying to punch down the young man. Don't get me wrong, everybody. Okay, I know these guys are young. They're 20-something years old. They're 18. They're 19. They're 20. They're 21. They're 22. And Coach Prime wants to protect their mental stability. I'm not sitting up here trying to punch down, but the truth of the matter is they've already been losing with Salter, and they've already gotten a sample size of Stobbs ever since he had that one good game where he came in this game and he stunk it up with 2 interceptions right away. So if you got 2 quarterbacks that you really don't have if you got 2 quarterbacks that you don't know what you're really going to get from them, then why not go with the high school phenom? Why not give him a chance to play the next 2 games so you can see what you really got? Give him a little bit of taste of Big 12 play. Then after he plays those 2 games, you give him the red shirt. Then when he comes back next season, hopefully he's coming back, because you know these kids can jump in the transfer portal. Then when he comes back next year, where he now becomes the man, he comes back as a red shirt freshman with 4 years to play towards working himself towards a potential NFL prospect. So, Coach Prime, you should do that. You should.
If that's what they want, that's what they'll get. I'm not going to mandate you got to play. You got to. No. Whatever's best for these young men's careers, I'm for that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach. Jack.
My man.
How's it going, Coach? Defensively, obviously allowing a few too many big
was
plays.
awful.
Juju.
Just how can that get corrected moving
Yeah.
forward? And
You can speak, you man.
just how do you plan on getting that corrected?
If
moving
I
forward?
knew, we would have done it before the game. So me.
Now, Coach Prime said it's on him. If he knew, he would. The bottom line is they got to correct this. They got some more games coming up. This has got to be corrected, everybody. Let's not play around here. They got to correct it. Okay, they've got West Virginia coming up at home. No. They're playing. They got to go to West Virginia. That's not an easy place to play, too, y'all. Then they got Arizona State at home. Then they've got Kansas State at home. No, they got to go to Kansas State. Okay? So they've got, what is it? They got 3 more games on the season. Let Juju play in both those games. Now, personally, I would play Juju at home and not on the road to give him that confidence at home. If you can only play him 2 games before you redshirt him, let Juju play against Arizona State. Well, no, you got to play 2 games. Yeah. Well, damn it, just have him play against West Virginia and have him play against Arizona State because they only got, looks like, 1 more home game to go before they got to play on, the other games are going to be on the road. And if they can win all 3 of these next games, maybe they can squeeze themselves into some type of small bowl game. I don't know.
I'm not doing my job on either side of the ball, including special teams.
Coach, when you say it's on you, does that go to practice? I mean, we see what happened here in front of us, but is that practice? Is that game plan?
Practices has been wonderful. I mean, practices have been like satisfying, truly.
So
now, Coach Prime has said that in practice, these guys are playing well. But this is the difference. In practice, you're playing against your teammates. So you start to get used to what your teammates do. This is how practice can be a false flag. They're playing well in practice, which is what you want them to do, play hard. But when they're in the game, it's not translating to the game. Coach Prime has said in every game that they've lost that, hey, I thought we were prepared. In practice, they're doing A, B, and C. But then when they're playing against a real opponent, it's different. And I'm going to tell you why it's different. This is my theory on this. The reason why it's different, because when you're playing against a opponent, you don't know that opponent. You haven't played them yet. When you're playing against your teammates, there's a certain muscle memory playing against teammates. You already know what the teammates can do, what they can't do, what their weaknesses, what their strengths are. You're playing against guys that you're hanging out with, that you're cool with. So you kind of feel more confident going up against them because you go up against them every day. And as a result, you feel confident, you look good in practice because you're going up against people that you already know their tricks. But when you're playing against these opponents, until you might watch them on video and say, okay, he does this, he does that. But when you get in the game action, you don't really know how fast they are. You don't really know how strong they are. You don't know how tricky and wiggle they are until you're confronting them. I think what's happening is that they're playing well in practice, but for some reason it's not translating in the game because the truth of the matter is that some of the teams that they've been playing against might have more talent in certain areas that CU is still struggling in. CU by far has good receivers, but they're only as good as the quarterback that's throwing the ball to them. I hope you all understand this. We have to be honest here.
Where's the disconnect?
Yeah, if I knew, I would tell you.
Okay.
You know I'm transparent. Right. If I knew the disconnect, I would tell you. I would be the first one to tell you.
Coach John, Reach 9 News.
Yes, sir.
How do you process these last 2 weeks getting so non-competitive so quickly in the first quarter?
Two things. You got to stop people and you got to score.
Right. He's absolutely right. You got to stop people. You've got to score. You've got to go out there and make the plays under pressure. And in the Big 12, that's exactly what you have to deal with in the Big 12. Okay? Now, I'm going to say again, I believe that Juju is the future of this team. And I think that there's other guys on this team who are not getting a lot of playing time yet that might be fresh out of high school. I think the future is with the development of the freshman players coming out of high school more so than the transfer portal. Coach Prime is going to have to, with his coaching staff, he's got to make some changes in that coaching staff, though. They're going to have to figure out how they are going to develop high school prospects, because what you get out of the transfer portal are guys that come over who may have left for whatever reasons. And the question is, do they fit? They gotta look at the transfer portal like they do the NFL draft. Just because a guy wants to come there, is he the right fit? And if he isn't the right fit, CU shouldn't accept them in the program. They should only be taking in young men. And I'm not saying that Coach Prime and the coaches are not thinking like this, but maybe something is disconnected here. They need to take in young men who only fit what they need them to do and are capable of doing it. I think the best way to still build a college football team, if you look at most of the teams in college football that have built themselves into a dynasty, have built themselves up, a lot of it comes through the pipeline of high school recruiting. Yeah, there are teams in college football that utilize the transfer portal. And Coach Prime has certainly been the transfer portal king, and people criticize him for that. And I'm not criticizing him for using the transfer portal, but I'm also recognizing that you really, for the future of your team, because the guys you get in from the transfer portal, these are sometimes guys that are going to be there for only 1 year, maybe 2, if that. Sometimes you get guys that come in that are coming in with the red shirt, so you're going to have them an extra year. But you really want to build your football team from the high school ranks, where you get them in and you develop them for a year or 2. I don't know if that's possible in today's college football, because so many guys are leaving because why? They want playing time and they want it right now. But something's got to change going into the next season under Coach Prime. 1, changes in the coaching staff. 2, the way they go about selecting and recruiting the players and the type of players they need to get. And 3, we know that we have a quarterback named Juju. And I think if you have Juju out there, these guys like Sincere Brown and all these guys like Joseph Williams, I think they would have better games if they had a quarterback that had a better accuracy, a stronger arm to get these guys involved. Reginald Hughes was all over the field, making plays here and there, but it still was not enough, along with Tawfiq making plays as well, but it still was not enough to win the football game. We know Jeremy Brown made some plays, but still was not enough at the end of the day. Now let's go to this. I want to go to this video right here, get more into Juju and the future that Juju has with this team. Another thing I want to put up here too is that, again, they allowed Arizona to get 417 total yards. Utah, same thing. Utah was able to rack up over 400-something yards in total offense. You cannot win football games when you give up those many yards. What's weird about this is that CU had 34 minutes and 9 seconds of time of possession, which is not bad, but they still could not score and keep up with this team because why? They could not stop them when it counted the most. They could not stop them. And what hurt them, you can see on this breakdown. This is what really hurt them, everybody. 5 turnovers. You cannot win football games when you got 5 turnovers. Now, Arizona had 2 turnovers, but Colorado gave up 5 turnovers. Right, my sister. You need coaches who are also dogs. Thank you for that statement.
Tell the truth.
5 turnovers and giving up 417 yards in total offense to a team is not going to ingratiate you to win football games. Okay? It's just not going to. And I'm going to say this again. This is what's hurting us. We're not getting the ball into our playmakers enough. Okay? Farrakhan Jr. came in. That's one of the young men out of high school came in. He got 1 catch for 17 yards, right? But Joseph Williams, 3 catches, that's not going to get it. Draylon Miller not being more actively involved. Sincere Brown, 2 catches for 10 yards, not going to get it. We know Amarion Miller was a beast because he is the best receiver on this team, okay? That cannot be denied. But now let me go to this particular discussion right here. This one is necessary. This one is necessary, y'all. Here we go. This one is about the question about not Amarion Miller, but more questions about Juju. Let's hear it.
Let's go.
Hey, Coach, when it comes to Juju and his development, I know that's somebody that you care a lot about as like a person, as a young man. Has it been about just wanting to be absolutely sure that he's ready and it's an opportunity that you feel comfortable with him?
You guys, sometimes you want guys to just throw somebody out there so you can just see him. I'm more protecting as a father spirit, as an athlete spirit, as a guy who knows this game. I got to protect him. I can't throw him out there and he's not fully ready. And now you jump all over him, and now we in a mental health situation.
Now, I do agree with Coach Prime that you can't throw a young man into the game who is not maybe mentally ready for that level of play. Okay? And let's keep this in mind. This is the first time in Coach Prime's coaching career going back to high school, whether it be Pop Warner, that he has had to play without Shedeur. Coach Prime has been used to having his son at quarterback from the very beginning of his coaching. Right. Good point, Sister Jackson. You are right. Stop making NFL experience as a requirement. Have you successfully coached at the FBS level should be the main question, not NFL. Now, in my other video that I did when they lost to Utah last week, sister, I made that mention that this is what I think. You kind of threw me off where I was going to go with this, but Shedeur is a young man that he's been used to coaching, right? Let me just go ahead and just say this, because you're making good points. I said this in my video last week, that we keep saying, well, he's got NFL coaches. But this is my question, sister. This is my small rebut to you. It's not so much that he's got guys that are coached in the NFL that's a problem. The problem is, does he have the right NFL coaching? And I say no. You see, Pat Shurmur was in the NFL, but he was a failed head coach, and he only lasted as an offensive coordinator for a short time. Nobody's knocking down Pat Shurmur's door to get him back in the NFL. So the question is, he's got NFL coaches on this team, but does he have the best? And I don't think he's got the best in both Pat, and now I'm questioning Robert Livingston. Pat is not the best. So yes, you want people who have shown they can understand the college football ranks, but you don't necessarily have to be a college football coach. You can still come into coaching from the NFL and do well in college if you are the best coach at the position. So the question we must ask is, Robert Livingston the best that Coach Prime could have gotten from the NFL? Is Pat the best offensive coordinator that he could have gotten from the NFL? No. Now, let's talk about these coaches. I hope I got them up here ready to go. You've got these coaches right here. Don't tell me that Marshall Faulk don't know how to coach running backs. And keep this in mind. Marshall Faulk ain't the offensive coordinator. He simply coaching the damn running backs. The running backs have to get an opportunity to run the ball based on the play calling of the offensive coordinator. Don't tell me that Byron Leftwich doesn't understand how to teach quarterbacking. If you don't have quarterbacks with the right talent to execute what he's teaching them, it doesn't matter if he's from the NFL. So what I'm saying is, you're right on one hand that NFL coaching doesn't mean anything if they don't know how to coach at the FBS level. But I don't point any fingers at these guys right here. No, not Marshall Faulk. No, I'm looking at the two guys that are the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinators who I don't think might not be the best coaches that Coach Prime has on the staff at those crucial positions. So whether he gets somebody that has college coaching experience or not, you got to get the best damn coach. You got to get the best damn coach. And maybe Coach Prime needs to look into recruiting. You might be onto something, that maybe he needs to go away from just going to NFL guys and maybe get some more college guys in there. I don't know. I'm just giving you both sides of how you can look at this. Okay? Not to contradict what you're saying, but I just don't think he's got two key guys that are from the NFL. I don't think that they're the right fit. And that's important for a football team. Let's go back over here because I want to finish this right here. Let's go.
I don't want that for none of these young men. So we try best to prepare them and get them ready for the ups and downs of life. It's easy to clap, when it's going well, but when all hell breaks loose,
that's true.
Nobody there. But the criticism and the negativity on social. So I'm trying to do a great job of being a good steward of my relationship with these young men and helping them progress, but progress the right way. You don't want to throw them out there too prematurely.
Good point. Very good point, Coach Prime. Very good point. Very, very good point. Point. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you all think in that chat room? Miss Jackson says, understood. She says, I'm not saying NFL disqualifies you, just saying you need to know how to successfully teach others. Marshall Faulk was a win. Right. Now, you know what? Pat was not. You know what? Now you're right. Now you're right. Let me put this on the board, what you're saying here. You're absolutely right. You can have guys in the NFL. See, remember when people are coaching in the NFL, they're used to dealing with men, right? They're used to dealing with men who are professionals. They're getting paid. They are professionals, paid professionals that should know what they're doing, right? You made a good point here. You can have guys in the NFL that Coach Prime can recruit, but the question is, are they teachers? Can they teach the game at the college level? Because in the NFL, they're kind of used to these grown men already knowing what they're supposed to do. And so the coaches just say, this is the X's and O's. This is what I want you to do. Go out there and execute it. And when you're dealing with professional athletes, for the most part, the professional athlete kind of knows already through muscle memory how to execute the damn play that they've been working, especially the veterans who've been in the league for a while. These coaches in the NFL don't have to do a lot of teaching. As a matter of fact, I've heard them say this, that in the NFL, that a lot of these coaches are used to these players being able to come in, digest the playbook, execute the plays, because in some cases they don't have a lot of time to teach you because because once they start losing games, they lose their jobs. So the question is, Pat, in Livingston, I'm surprised because he put some guys with the Bengals. He put two safeties that played with the Bengals. He put them in a Pro Bowl. But the question is, those guys probably already knew how to damn well play. The question is, you got to know how to teach these young men who may not know how to execute, whereas in the NFL, they know how to execute. You just got to put them in the right place to be successful. In college football, you got to be good with the X's and O's. You got to be able to not only tell them to execute, but you got to know how to teach them the execution. That might be what you're saying. She says, good point. Wonder if that's why the wide receiver coach thinks he doesn't need to teach blocking. That's bad. In the NFL, certain teams, I'm a 49er fan for years now. In that offense that they're running, you won't be successful as a receiver if you don't block. They expect you to block. At this level in college football, they should be teaching everything to these young men. They need to know to block. They need to know certain techniques. They need to learn the route tree, because that's the route tree is what they're going to have to go through if they want to play in the NFL. I don't understand, what is Pat Shurmur doing to teach these young men the route tree or the receiving coach? Matter of fact, it was Steve Smith on his podcast who said that the reason why, now just listen to what I'm saying, don't shoot the messenger. This is what Steve Smith said himself, who played in the NFL. I think he's a Hall of Famer. Steve Smith said himself that Pat Shurmur is not a good offensive coordinator, and he wasn't when he was in the NFL. He had 1 year of success with Minnesota. But what he said about Pat, Coach Prime says blame him, don't blame the coaches and play. No, I'm blaming some of his coaching staff, like Pat Shurmur, with his questionable play calling. Steve Smith said that one of the reasons why he thinks that Travis Hunter with the Jacksonville, with the Jackson team, that one of the reasons that in the beginning, Travis Hunter was still learning, trying to figure things out, is because Pat Shurmur did not teach route running. And is good, no matter how good you are in college, if you do not learn how to run crispy routes properly, it will expose you at the pro level. That's why Travis Hunter is having, like any rookie, having his learning curve. And once Travis Hunter understands how to properly run the route tree, he's going to be a very good receiver, whatever they want to do with him, receiver, cornerback at the NFL level. But there's certain things you must understand fundamentally at the NFL level. When you see this team running plays, do we see the fundamentals in the receivers running those route tree? But how can we if the quarterback is not consistently getting the ball to players down the field? We see them throwing the little screens, little intermediate routes, but you've got some guys on this team like Amarion Miller, Sincere Brown, who they need to get the ball deep down the field to them. At this point, Juju, in my opinion, can do it. He showed you in his short time playing on Saturday that he can get the ball deep down the field. When you saw Amarion Miller get that big catch for a touchdown, I believe from Juju, showing you that Juju has the arm strength, the accuracy to get the ball down the damn field. The young lady, Keith, the young lady that stepped into this chat room, knows what the hell she is talking about. And because she knows what she's talking about, I give her a clap as well as you.
Tell the truth.
Everybody, I hope you understood my position in this situation. I want nothing but the best for Coach Prime. I want nothing but the best for CU. I want nothing best for the players. But we have to be honest about what we're witnessing every weekend when it comes to them having struggles with stopping the run, when there's inconsistency from the quarterback position, and at times we've seen a few ups and downs in the offensive line. We also notice something that's very glaring with the team: poor tackling. I've been noticing that too, that sometimes the tackling is not the best that it can be, but these things are happening. Now, with that said, I recognize the fact that they don't have all their players because there's a lot of guys that are out hurt. So keep that in mind, that there are players hurt and there is some questionable play calling by the coaching staff. In this particular case, in my opinion, Pat Shurmur, he's the offensive coordinator. Buck stops with him. Robert Livingston's the defensive coordinator. Buck stops with him. And of course, Coach Prime is saying, no, just blame me. But no, I'm not going to do that. I think it's a shared responsibility, Coach Prime. That's how I feel about it, sir.
It has everything to do with me. Let's go. Come at me. This is me. This has nothing to do with none of them. It has everything to do with me. Let's go.
With that said, everybody, thank you for watching this podcast. This is Prime Sports Media. Share the video on all your social media. I had to tell the truth about this situation because these are realities. They're going to be playing their next schedule. Let's go. I think West Virginia is the next team that they have on the schedule that they're going to be facing. This will not be an easy game. It's not an easy place to play. West Virginia is not an easy place to play, y'all. But if they can come out of there with a win, and we have to see, Coach Prime will have a press conference on Tuesday. I believe they've got to have Juju play. I'm sorry. Let Juju play these last two games, redshirt him so that he can come back next season as a redshirt freshman and he can start fresh with 4 years to go in his development. What do you all think about that? Sister Jackson, 6794 says, thank you. I really don't know much. I'm just very curious and listen to other folks who talk about the game. Well, you sound like someone who has watched football, who understands football, that's making sound statements. Okay? Keith says they cut deals and the practice coach got scanned. I'm not sure about all of that, but we know this is football, and football is a game that's physicality. It's a game of X's and O's and executing. It's also a game, if you got the best players, you're going to win. Or should I say this? Let me say this. No, let me correct what I'm saying. It's not always about whether you have the best players that guarantee that you're going to win. It's about whether you have the best team that's a better point or a better chance that you're going to win when you've got the best team. Because we've seen teams that have the best players and still lose games, but do you have the best team, meaning you play in complete chemistry with each other, on the same page with one another? So let's hope that next week that they can resurrect the situation, come out and beat West Virginia, exercise the demons. Let's hope that Coach Prime can fix whatever the bugs are in the team. But I am 100% behind Juju. Juju has got to be the guy, the young man that they go with. I'm going to say it again. I think the key to the future is obviously not going to be Stobbs, definitely not going to be Salter. The key to their success going forward in the future is this young man right here. Okay? Juju. Juju's the future. He's the key to their success. I'm telling y'all right now. Peace. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for watching the program. We'll be back with more. This is Prime Sports Media. Thank you.
Listen. everybody have a great evening, great day. Share the video, yeah.
Tell the truth.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.